Hey guys, it's Jacolia of Jacolia Gems. Thank you for coming back once again to view my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, hey y'all. Go ahead and do me a favor, subscribe if you have not already done so. Turn on your post notifications so every time I upload a video, you are notified, as well as for the few times that I happen to go live. Like this video, comment down below because this is something we really need to talk about. Like, we seriously need to talk about this. Share this to your social media platforms and your text messages and your group chats, which a lot of you like to do. I'll be watching my numbers, so thanks. And some of you consistently come back but have not subscribed yet. What are you waiting for? You're clearly enjoying the content. Also, hit the like button because that's going to help me, you know, reach out in the algorithm even more. Now, let's get into today's video. Now, I really don't keep up with celebrity gossip like that. There are some things that I just happen to know by happenstance, reading things. Then certain times I will sit and watch a podcast or two, a clip or two, use it for content. And, sometimes me and my friends will talk about certain stuff. Well, my friend and a cousin will talk about certain things as well as my daughter. With that being said, for the past 8 years, some of us who are into pop culture have been privy to the personal life of singer, songwriter, award winner Neyo and his wife Crystal Smith, um, his the mother of his children, Monetta Shaw, who is now married, and I'm really not going to mention her a lot in this video at all. And I'm really not going to focus on them. I am going to lay out the premise of their relationship to get into the fact that this situation is very popular in the Black community. So Monetta, and I think that's how you say her name, Monetta. I don't know. I'm sorry. Um, her and Neyo, they have two children together, I believe. They were together for a certain amount of years. They were not married, and some way, somehow, he convinced her to burn her tubes. That's going to be another video. So apparently, he was cheating on her with people, but specifically with his now wife, Crystal Smith. This woman, Crystal Smith, acted a piss poor behind on the internet. She would be very disrespectful to the mother of his children. Basically, has this high and mighty air about herself because the baby mother she could never be. She's going to be the wife, and congratulations, you should have high expectations for yourself if you are a woman that desires marriage. I do not promote having children out of wedlock. Point blank, period. This is not that. I also do not promote a woman thinking that she's better than another woman because she did things in a certain order, as if she has not been on birth control for all of her life, as if she does not have multiple abortions under her belt, as if she has not been having just as much sex, if not more, than the woman who has the baby. Some women just move around in a different way than other women do. Some of us got caught. With that being said, the competition between Black women, Black wives, and Black mother of children is something that I'm going to deep dive into very, very, very deep on another video. On today, I really want to talk about the promotional wife, the married side chick, and the syndrome that comes with that, because I honestly believe that it's one of the highest level of stupidity that a woman can act up on. Excuse me. And I know some of you women who went from being side chicks to wives, y'all finna get y'all big granny jaws in a bunch about this video. And y'all gonna say, well, she's just the baby mama, so what can she say? We're going to get into all of that one day as well. I have some stuff coming for y'all. I have been seeing married side chick syndrome since I was around the age of 10, maybe younger, give or take a few years. I saw this up close and personal when a couple were married. They had a child together, one from a previous relationship. So they had two children. Because the way that I was raised, we don't believe in step parents. And that's another topic that I'm going to get into as well. This couple had two children and, drama, whatever. Man starts to cheat with another woman, XYZ, blase, whoopee school. Now this couple is married. And everyone believes that they got married together under godly pretenses. And I am one to believe that the Most High does definitely cover a multitude of faults. I do not believe in misappropriating that scripture, and I do not believe against going against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, even if I have myself at one point or another. And we're going to one day soon this week get into the biblical definition for fornication, the biblical definition for idolatry, and the biblical definition for whoredom. Because when you guys address people in a certain way, it makes me cringe that I even thought certain things meant certain things that they do not mean. With that being said, so this is something that I've always seen. And when you watch dynamics like this from a little girl, and then you experience one up close and personal, and then you begin to see it happen to people around you, to me, this is, I don't want to miss you, an epidemic in the Black community, because it feeds the delusion and the ego of the Black woman, and that's the last thing that needs to be fed. The delusion of the ego of a Black woman is what has a lot of us in the predicaments that we are in. And that's actually holding back and killing out our future generations, because we are not willing to say, I was wrong for doing X, Y, and Z. I had no business marrying this man because he belonged to somebody else before he belonged to me. And as a woman, I operated out of desperation by first playing his side chick. But no, we would rather uphold one another and parade each other around and say that, oh, because she has the ring and she had the baby inside of the marriage, and she has the house and she has this and she has that she's so much better off. That is a broken mindset that we have formulated and delved into and become entrenched and ensnared in for far too long in the Black community. And then there becomes a separation of hierarchy of what a hoe is. And you're no longer a hoe if you were a hoe before you were married. But the woman that's not married, she's still a hoe. You're just a married hoe. Do hoes not have redemption? And that's another topic that I'm telling y'all that I'm going to talk about soon. So I'm not saying that there are no couples out there who didn't get together the correct way and did not reformulate their relationship. I believe that you could get into something that is not meant for you in that season, or you can put your hand in it and operate what people call free will. And then when you take some time to separate and to sit back and to lay the thing on the altar of repentance and the altar of sacrifice, and begin to purge and to purify and to have open confession and open apologies and open forgiveness and change mindsets. But the problem is that that's not what's happening. You have these women who have turned into wives who begin to mistreat the woman that came before them like she is the enemy, and this woman does nothing to this woman. But because she knows the spirit of which she got this man and which she got his last name, she must now make herself feel better by making a mockery of somebody else's pain. The level of brokenness and idiocy and desperation that we begin to crown and we begin to adorn and we begin to place on pedestal and we begin to give headship and authority as the antithesis and as the example of what a married Black woman should be, is why a lot of Black women would rather settle to be a side chick, or to be single and celibate, or to just be out here dating and doing what it is that she will, because she does not want to hold a place of delusion and occupy a space based off of obligation. Because let me tell you women something, after having many conversations with many men, my father, my best friend, some exes, some relatives, random men in different settings, when I'm at the bar and I'm talking to men, I'm asking them questions. When I'm outside and I'm talking to men, I'm asking them questions. I'm supping up wisdom. I'm supping up knowledge. I'm learning and I'm listening. And that's where a great separation begins to come in from. A lot of men will marry their side chicks out of obligation, because his heart and his mind, his body and his soul is still yearning for the woman that left him, because a lot of men are not used to being left. And these women, like Crystal, will know that even if the ex is not a factor because of her cutting it off and because of her leaving, or even if he left and he tried to come back, because there are things that happen that people do not know about. There are marriages that have been handed over to women. See, the thing is that a lot of women do not realize is that they think that they got the prize when we are supposed to be the prize. That's not to say that the Black man does not elevate us. He begins to elevate us on high, because he is the thing closest to God outside of us, because we are the ones that are co-creators, which is why Hava begins to break down the first woman, Eve. Her name begins to break down in connections with Yod Hate, Wav Hate. We co-create with the Most High, but the man is the seed. So we can't do this. But what we have to realize is that we begin to view the man as a prize so much that we change roles with him. We change dynamics with him. We wait on him. We sit back. We deal with hurt. We deal with pain. We deal with rejection. We deal with abandonment. We deal with STDs and BV and yeast infection and outside babies and public embarrassments and videos and pictures being leaked and group chats and walking in on things in a household and your girlfriend's calling you and letting you know some things, X, Y, and Z, all for the love of a man. But is this not prophecy fulfilled when we read the book of Genesis, and the first Black woman that was created, who had her ego and her delusion, had her listening to the frequency of a serpent and not the voice of her husband? Her punishment was, your desire will be unto your husband. So it's a root cause for this desperation that it is that we exude. Just like if we were in proper position, we would know that the man seeks a woman, that a man chases a woman, that a woman leaves little hints and a woman leaves little suggestions and all of these things. But when talking to Black men, they don't take married side chicks serious. And that's not to say that some men have not fallen in love with a woman and wish that he never married the woman that he married, or did not want to be with the woman that he wanted to be with. But I'm going to tell you something about an honorable man, a man that really honors you and a man that really loves you. He's not going to sneak with you. He's not going to make you a secret. He's going to sit down and talk to the other woman that he's with, and he's going to say, listen, somebody else came along and I'm not sure what this is, but guess what? He's also going to honor himself and take a step back from the both of you before he even pulls you into his chaos, before he even pulls you into what may be lust driven, and before he even pulls you into something that's going to hurt either one of y'all. A lot of women are married to men that are not worthy of the honor of being husband, but because we are so desperate and hard up to be called wife, we will settle for anything just to say that we got the ring. Let's talk about it. So because we now have a man last name that's not our father's, because a lot of us don't have our father's last name or our grandfather's last name, and we've desired to be a wife since we were little girls, or a mother since we was little girls. And so because we have a point of view of what we think a good man looks like, we chase and we sit and we wait. That's not what our forefathers and our foremothers operated out of. Does not the Bible tell us that Rachel and Leah, well, Rachel was worked for how many years? It was a total of 14 years, I believe. Originally, it was supposed to be 7 because he did not have the sustenance to give her father a dowry to replace her income that she provided to the household, as well as if she was a virgin. But even if she wasn't, there was still a dowry that was to be collected because she was a prized possession of her father's and then of her mother's and her aunts and her uncles and so on and so forth. But we begin to switch gender roles with men in so many ways. And the reason why, according to Black men, that a lot of them will not take their side chicks serious, even if they marry them, is because you let them get away with anything and you still took them serious. They drug you through the mud, embarrassed you, took you to the lowest pits of hell, and you still took them serious. A man marrying you does not mean that he respects you. It does not mean that he loves you. A man using your body to ejaculate does not mean that you mean anything to him. A man give you his last name does not mean you mean anything to him. A man honoring you and preferring you above himself. A man that's willing to kill out his flesh and to silence his worldly thoughts and his cravings, and willing to sit back and not touch you and to not humble you. Because what type of man? Because we could talk about women being side chicks all day, and we're going to talk about the psychology behind it. Who better to talk about it? We're going to talk about the psychology behind it. But what type of man will humble you and then turn around and say, I honor you, without restoring you first? See, let me take you here. When I was pregnant with my son, I was engaged to his father, right? I was pregnant with my son. And after I was pregnant with him, I was just like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I can't do this anymore. I was sat down during my pregnancy, but before I had my son, because my father saw, she's done. He restored me. Now, I didn't get up preaching. I didn't get up teaching, but he publicly got up and bring restoration to my name. Before I birthed my son into the earth realm, but I had to prove myself even after birthing before my name got elevation. A man that honors you will humble you so that you'll learn a lesson, but he will not humble you so that you can learn a lesson through him weaponizing his body, your vulnerability, your lack of low self-esteem and low self-worth. That's not what safe men do. So a lot of times the married side chick will parade around like she's the happiest woman in the world. But how does she treat that other woman? That's very indicative of how she really feels about herself. I'm talking about the woman that stays away. The woman that y'all ain't never seen Neyo wife. The mother, at least from what I know, because I don't gravely follow. If you have seen it, let me know. Y'all, I have never heard about her going on the internet, dogging this woman out, dogging Neyo out. She just keeps quiet and minds her business. While this woman talks under her skirt, parades around, yet claims to love the 2 children that she pushed out. What a dichotomy. How can you love the seed but not the earth, but claims to love that which it produced? I don't understand that. It don't mean that you have to like the earth, but the earth produced the legacy that preceded you. You have to respect what the earth does. There's a level of respect that was lacking in their relationship. And the children are very rarely thought about in these dynamics because adults are so selfish and so sex craved and lack so much accountability and lack so much self-control that we would rather put what it is that we want and what it is that we desire above what it is that's best for the children. It's 5 children present in this dynamic. While their 3 parents, well, I'm going to say 2, are publicly embarrassing them, talking about what's going on in the bedroom, talking about all of these other things. If we are seeing it like this, imagine what we don't see. There are women who will have an issue with another woman that predate her who ain't never did nothing to her. That's some type of psychological warfare that's deep rooted and probably needs some type of exorcism or medication. And I'm not joking. A lot of women, these type of women allows a man to become a barrier because she allowed him to get in her ear and in her drawers and in her mind and in her emotions and her psyche, in her DNA. While he was still involved with somebody else, he groomed you because he saw that you were pliable and that you were moldable. Because the one that he was with knew him thoroughly through and through. And more times than not, the one that he was with was the one that left and not the one that got left. And you thought the version of the man that she got, that you was going to get it. Even if she only had a good 63 to 73%, you thought you was going to get that. So you waited your turn and you sit back so that you could come out and you can blossom and full. And a lot of times what begins to happen in these relationship dynamics is the friend circle becomes flying monkey and becomes enemy to the other woman that's minding her business and not doing anything to anybody. Instead of becoming the friend circle that say, baby, don't marry that man. I know you may think you love him, but that's not love. It's probably just the sex. And if you take that off the table and deal with reality, is it really that good? And if it is, maybe you need to improve what you're giving him so you don't get so caught up. And if it is equal, you need to learn how to detach. Keep your legs closed. What is it? Don't take him serious. Because if he took you serious, he wouldn't handle you in the way that he do. And if he did mishandle you, he going to take a step back, do some repentance and some building up, and come back and try to win you the proper way. Without you giving him an ultimatum, without him dogging you out and dragging you out and being with you for years. Because according to men, they know if you have the qualifications to be their wife right away. And according to men, if they want you to be their wife, they'll let it be known within a certain time period, even if y'all don't get engaged right away. It won't be any plan. He won't give anybody any time or a chance to come and snatch you away. And I'm telling you, if a man cheats on you habitually, he don't care about you leaving. A lot of times he be trying to get you to leave so that he can do whatever it is that he want to do. And then maybe he'll come back to you some years later or a little while later when he realized the person that he really want to be with ain't taking him back. So then he try to be with somebody else and she not taking him serious either. Then he comes back to you. It's always a science behind these things that don't go talked about. We just see the outward production. But I'm going to get off this topic. If you are a married side chick and you find yourself thinking that you're better than a woman that's unmarried, that's played a side chick, that's a baby mother, I'm here to let you know today then you are delusional. Unless you one of the 2% that I've been talking about on the positive side that could come out. But that's only after open admittance. That don't mean get on the internet and admit, but admit to yourself who you are and how you got what you got. Because that's why a lot of married side chicks are bitter and angry, nitpicky, nasty, insecure, paranoid, loud, unaffectionate, uncaring, disrespectful, interrupts, just lack accountability. I mean, I can go on. It's because they know that the way they started off their marriage and the way that they got in their relationship was not okay. This is something that can be rectified. With that being said, if you have not already done so, do me a favor, subscribe to my channel. Let's get this conversation started. Talk to your friends and let them know it's okay to admit that you're Crystal. We're all somebody. We've all messed up. Some of us are just more accountable to others. This is Jacolia of Jacolia Gems. Thank you once again for coming back to my channel. I really appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.